Hi guys, and welcome back to another laptop repair case study today. So this is an Acer laptop and it doesn't turn on, so it is a no power case. So let's see whether we can fix this today. Okay, so opening the laptop. Alright, so here we have the Intel i5 processor with NVIDIA GPU. So I think this should be 11th gen processor, and we have the integrated graphics and also the dedicated graphics. So this is a kind of a good laptop. So the customer told me that usually he finds difficult to turn on the laptop. So he has to press the power button several times in order for the laptop to turn on. So based on his information, I can make sure the problem is actually with the power button here. So he bought this laptop before 4 years. So considering that he used it daily, so we can confirm that more than 1200 times the power button has pressed, and now it became malfunction or it became damaged inside. So when you take about Acer laptops and some of the Asus laptop and Toshiba new model laptops, they have the power button attached to the keyboard itself. So there will be a separate pin that comes directly to the power button here, and the power button, that pin will be directly connected to the EC chip. So when we press the power button, the information will go straight to the EC chip, and then the EC chip will turn on the motherboard. So when you take about Dell laptops, so you will see the power button actually it will looks like it is attached to the keyboard, but if you turn it inside, and you will see a dedicated button will be there inside the Dell laptops mostly, so there won't be any problem with that. But if you take about the laptop keyboards button, so they are prone to damage easily. So we have just a silicon layer, and when you press the power button, and it will touch the line to ground, and the EC chip will understand that the power button has pressed. Now the actual problem here is that the power button is now continuously shorted to ground, so that's why the motherboard is not turning on. EC chip understands the power button signal only when there's a debounce logic, which means high to low, then high. So if it is continuously low, then it will not turn on the laptop. So there should be a high to low to high signal for the EC chip in order to turn on the laptop. Okay, so I'll just connect the adapter and show you with a glance so that we can focus where would be the problem. And I'm sure the problem is actually with the power button here. And the customer said he doesn't want to change the keyboard right now, so other keys are working. He said the other keys are working properly, so he just wanted to make it a cost-effective manner. So just he wanted to use the keyboard for some time. So he just asked me any alternative ways to make the power button working properly. So already I have repaired this kind of laptop before for Asus laptop. I have repaired for Asus laptop and the Acer laptop before. So we can just remove this button here, and we are going to disconnect the power button signal directly comes from this point here inside the keyboard, and we are going to take a different line using some of different buttons, and we can build a new power button here. So I'll just show you how to do that, so it can be a cost-effective manner for you and the customer. Okay, so because replacing this type of keyboard, it takes time and it will incur some expense, because these keyboards are attached to the C panel here with the metal frame, and also the metal frame is attached to the C panel using plastic solders. So using plastic, so we need to fix the keyboard firmly in order for the laptop to be used for a long time. So if we don't fix the metal frame to the C body, to the C panel here, then after some time we will get a crack on the C panel here. So that should be taken into consideration. Okay, so we are not going to change the keyboard. We will just try to change only the power button here, and I will guide you how to change only the power button using some trick. Okay, so I will just connect the adapter and show you what is happening in this laptop. Okay. Alright, so look at the ampere reading on the power supply. I'm going to connect the adapter. Yes, turning on the power supply. Yes, it is drawing around 40 milliamps, then 1900 milliamps. The battery is charging, I think. So we can see on the side whether it is charging. Yes, so you can see it's charging. Yes. And if you look here on this side, here we have the power button, I mean the power LED. So if I press the power button, I should get a blue light here. So let me press the power button and see whether we get a blue light. No, I'm not getting a blue light. If I press some other keys, yeah. So I got a blue light and now the laptop has turned on. I'm sure it should turn off immediately because the power button is continuously pressing to ground. Yes, it has turned off. However, if I press other buttons, what is happening here is the power button signal is overriding when we press the other button. So on that case, the power button is being released or it is ignored. On that case, the board will turn on, but suddenly after we release these buttons, what will happen? Continuously the power button will be pressed. Alright, so we are getting the display also. Everything is working fine. Yeah. So let me open the laptop and then we can move forward for replacing this button here. Okay. Okay, so now I have disconnected the keyboard and the battery as well. So let me short this resistor here, one of the resistor to ground. So through that we can trigger the power button and see whether the board is turning on and staying still. So you can look here, the battery has bulged, so it needs to be replaced. And the customer already said that he's also having the problem with the battery backup time, so just 1 hour. So usually this is a 4-year laptop, so he needs to replace the battery. Okay, so let me trigger the power button. So turning it to diode mode, keeping the positive probe to ground and the negative probe on this point here on one of this resistor here. Yes, the board has turned on, the fan is spinning. You can look at the ampere reading also. So let us see whether the board is staying still for some time in order to confirm that if there's only a problem with the power button. Yes, you can see the board is still on and it didn't turn off because we have disconnected the keyboard connector here. Okay. Yes, so it should be working fine then. So now let's move on to replacing the or repairing the power button here. So let me disconnect the adapter now. Okay, so removing the power button without damaging the very tiny plastic underneath this button is really tricky because the plastic inside it is really delicate. So we should carefully remove this power button in order to take out the button and also the small plastic that holds the button inside the keyboard. Okay, so in order to remove this button, so we need to insert a tweezer right on right side here on this side. So you need to insert just below this plastic here, which is this button. So just gently insert the tweezer just below the plastic button here and just push inside. Okay, and once it went, so just use your finger or any other tool just to lift the button on the other side to the left side. Okay, press it down and then you can insert a little bit forward once it has lifted on this side, and then again you can use other tool or you can use the hand as well. Okay, yes, so now you can see the button is out, no damages, So you can see it's very small plastic that holds the plastic, which is this one here, this clip on these 4 connectors on these 4 corners, so it holds firmly. So you should not break this one, otherwise your button will not be fixed with this plastic here. Okay, we can also remove this plastic as well. So if you look here, these are 2 clips that holds this plastic together, so we can push a little forward with this one. Yeah, so I'll use this tool here. Okay, yes, and we can use this one to lift it above. Okay, so now I have removed the plastic without breaking any of its connectors. Okay, everything looks fine. All right, so let us keep this aside. Okay, so now we can remove this plastic from here. We don't need this anymore, so just we can remove it. And we need to make sure hereafter this button should not touch this layer should not touch the underneath layer, because if it touches the underneath layer, then on the next time, even though we use the power button, it will be useless. So we need to make sure this pad and the traces going underneath this pad and the top pad is not connected together. Okay, right. So I hope once we remove the plastic, the silicon button on top of this, it should be okay. All right, so let me just connect the keyboard cable and see whether the board is turning on normally. Okay, so now I have connected the keyboard, so let me trigger the power button and see whether the board is turning off. Okay, yes, okay, the board has turned on, you can see, and we got the display. So yes, now the board has turned off. So still we are having a problem on this ribbon here. So actually the pads, they are connected together. So I think we need to cut these trays here, both of these trays, so that we can fix another button here. Okay, so what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to cut this trace using the art knife. Only this trace here. Okay, yes, all right. Yes, again it is turning off. I think not from this point. Internally the power button is being pressed, so the line through the board is having a problem, so not at this point here. So what can we do now? So we need to isolate this line straight to the EC chip, and we need to provide another line for the EC chip, then only the board will be working fine. Otherwise still we are going to have this problem. Okay, so we can't do anything with the traces that goes inside the keyboard. So what I can do now, I'll just isolate this trace with this connector here. So for that, what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to use a small Captain tape to cover only this pin here on the keyboard flex cable, so that there will be no conductivity from this pin and the keyboard connector here, so that the power button will be isolated. So let me try this and see whether the board is staying still. Okay, so we need to use a Captain tape to cover only this pin here. Okay, so now let me try to trigger the board. Alright, it is turning on. Checking the voltage on the power button connector. Yes, we have constant 3.3 volt. So I guess hereafter the board will not turn off. Okay. Okay, let me turn around and check whether we have a display. And yes, we have the display. Everything is working fine. Yes, everything is working fine. So as the customer said, other keys are working fine. There's no problem with that. So I need to check whether the number pads on this side is working fine. Yes. Yeah. So everything is working fine. So the only problem is with the power button here. Okay, so now we will focus on how to place a power button on this place here. Okay, so this is the power button. So on back of this side here, we need to place a button there in order to press the button so that the power button signal will be sent to the EC chip on this motherboard. So we are going to use this button here, so we can use the hot air gun to take off this button, and we are going to place it under this plastic here. So now we need to jumper two wires in this connector here, so on opposite of these two pins, so two wires. So one wire will go to the ground of the board and the other wire will go to the EC chip's power button signal, so which is near the keyboard connector. We need to fix this button, this switch in this plastic power button switch upside down, so it should be right at the center. Okay, so we can use an epoxy to fix it, or like a super glue. So I'm going to use the epoxy so it will be easy to fix it. Okay, so now the power button is ready. So I have just fixed it using the epoxy on this power button. So we need to insert these two jumper wires through this hole here, but actually we can't insert it straightly because we have backlight on the back side. So what we have to do now, we need to insert it on sideways this way, this wire here into the laptop, so that we can connect it one wire to ground and the other wire to the EC chip power button signal. Okay, so now I need to remove these two connectors here, because on this side, if you look here, we don't have any holes just below the power button here. So I have repaired some other laptops which had a small hole just below the power button, but here we don't have anything. So we need to just remove these plastics and insert the wire in sideways through this way out, so that we can connect it to the motherboard. So let me just remove this one, and this one, and these two. So then only we can just lift this up and we can insert the wire. The wire is out. Gently, I'll just fix it on its socket here. Okay guys, so I have just replaced the button inside here, so that was little bit bigger, so we can fix the plastic on these edges here, so it will not allow it to clip on these edges here. So I have used a small button here, so it looks ugly but actually it's reliable and you can press it. Yeah, okay. And on this side here, I have just inserted these wires just beneath this plastic, not under this clip here, because we are going to place this one on the middle. So this is just an old, I took it from an old keyboard, so we can place it on top of it, then it will come back to its normal position. And also inside here you can see just a small amount of silicone glue I have just kept, so that when we press the button, this will press it against this small button here, then we can have the power button being pressed and the board will turn on. Okay guys, so everything is finished. So you can see I have taken those two wires from this side here and used some Captain tape to place the wires onto the board, because this is very thin, then they can easily break. Okay, so I have soldered one wire directly to the ground. So we have two wires that is going straight to the power button. So one wire is directly to the ground and the other wire is soldered on the first pin of the keyboard connector here. So this is straightly going to this resistor here, and this resistor is straightly connected to the EC chip as the power button input signal. So now when we press the power button, so this line will be shorted to ground using the power button, and the EC chip will understand that the power button has been pressed. So I'll just show you whether this is working fine without connecting anything onto the board. So we can use the continuity mode. Just hear the buzzer sound if I press the power button. Okay, yes, so you can see the sound. I'm pressing the power button and the button is working. Alright, so let me connect the battery into the laptop and we can connect the adapter and see whether we are getting a trigger. Okay, let me press the power button on this side. Yes, the board has turned on and you can see we got the display. So let's check whether every keyboard buttons are working now. Yes, so everything is working. Yes, so every keys are working fine and the board is not shutting down. So because we have isolated the power button line from the keyboard, so everything is fine. So I'll show you the power button that we worked now. So look at, there is no difference that we have worked on this power button here. So if you compare the power button with other buttons here, so this is a little bit shorter than the other buttons here. So anyhow, that is okay. So you can see on the sideways the two wires are going to the motherboard. So okay, so we have done a great job. So usually I do this for this kind of laptop, so this time I just thought to share with you guys. So we don't need to change the total keyboard if only the power button is not working here. Okay, so thanks for watching guys, and stay tuned for our future updates, and see you later with a new video. Okay.